So as I told you, the C rate. What is the importance of the C rating? So C rating is nothing but it's decided that there is a two types of factors will be affecting this one. Energy cells are there and power cells are there. So energy cell is nothing but for the high range of battery. Suppose if you want to travel for 100 kilometers, right? This energy cells are more useful, right? That is nothing but if you see this graph, the voltage and the discharge capacity, right? When the battery started, so we can charge with 0.5. So let me first tell you the what is C rate. So C rate is nothing but 1 ampere. We are charging with 1 C rate means we are suppose there is a in this example 120 ampere hours, right? If you are discharging with this battery with 1 C rate, that means you are discharging 120 hours per hour. Okay. Suppose the battery is the 2C rating. That means you are discharging this battery with 2C rate. That means divide with 2. Then you will get 60 amperes per hour only, right? If you are going to be 4C rate of battery, what happens? With the 4C rating of battery, 120 by 4, right? You will get the nearly 30 amperes per hour only we can able to deliver. Same thing in the charging time also. When we are going to charging any battery with 1C rate, that means if it is a 120 ampere hour battery, you are charging with 1C. That means you are injecting the current of 120 ampere per hour. Right? If you are charging with 2C, then what happens? 240 ampere hours per hour you are going to be injected. Right? So when you are going to charge this like this, so we can charge the power. So when we are selecting this battery cells, we need to take care about the what is the energy cell and the what is the power cell. Is the energy cell or power cell? That means if energy cell is nothing but it will if you are charging, let's take this red line, okay, which is charging with 1C. Okay, the voltage of this battery is slowly decreasing. How much of time it took? How much of ampere hours is given? Nearly 3200 ampere hours, milliampere hours, right, to completely discharge from 4 volts to 2.5. If you go for the power cell, right, which is during the constant current, constant voltage charging with the 0.7 max. Okay, if you can observe this one here also with red line is C1C rating. So it's charging C. It's giving only up to 200 milliampere hours. That means high rating with slowly discharging, which is slowly discharging and high rating. Okay, you can simply say like that. If you go for the racing car, in the racing car we require the more power in less time. There we will use this power cells. That means which is capable to discharge or charge very fast, right? Where in the normal conventional vehicle where we require the high range but with normal speed, then we can go for this energy cells. Okay. So when you are going to let here in for more clear explanation purpose, I have took here one of the data sheet of the one battery, right? So here I am taking the nickel manganese cobalt battery with a nominal capacity of 44 ampere hour and voltage rating is 3, nominal voltage is 3 and normal voltage is 3.65 and maximum voltage we can able to produce 4.2 volts. Okay, the recommended charging voltage is given by the as per data sheet 4.1 volt. Okay, then you can see here from the data sheet here mentioned that if you go into charging for the continuous charging, if you are using, you can charge this battery with the 2C rating. To charge this battery for the 44 ampere with 2C, what does that mean? 2 into 44, that means 88. If you are giving the continuous supply with 44 ampere of the power supply, you can give for this battery to charge fully. If you are using pulse charging, right? If you are using pulse charging, we can charge this battery with the 4C rating, 44 into 4. Okay. In a similar way, during the discharging also, that means you are connecting some load when you are running electric vehicle. So we need more fast, more acceleration or for the long duration, right? So if you are charging, discharging continuously, we can discharge this battery with the 3C rating. You can discharge. And if you are discharging to the pulsated load, we can use for the 10C rating. But like this, but different batteries, there is having a different condition. You can go for the, if you want to know the what is the battery, how much of discharge we can do, how much of charging we can do, what is the C rating, you can check in the data sheet of the each batteries. Okay. So coming to our main concept, what is a battery management? So what is a battery management and why we need this? Right. So we know that still now I clearly explained that what are the different types of batteries are there, what is the impact of this battery EVs on the environment, right? So how to select the battery for the electric vehicle, and how to select the which kind of cells we need to take it for it's a racing car or it's a normal car. Based on that, we need to select the consider all the factors when you're selecting the batteries. But when you're selecting these batteries and making into the complete battery, so this battery having a different kinds of there is a chance of different kinds of failures, right? As I saw, as you can see this, there's different kinds of failures will happen. Maybe there is a short circuiting, there may be hitting by some external device or something, or some fire or completely discharging, right? So when this all cells are together, like making a one module. So if one cell will be going to be fail or short circuited, there may be chance of entire battery will going to be burn out. Thermal, this if any fire will happen, this in the battery which generally is calling as a thermal runaway, right? If one cell is going to be thermal runaway, what happen? Definitely it will going to affect in the rest of the cells only. So there is a possibility of complete battery will going to be thermal runaway, right? So in order to protect our battery, we require the battery management system. What this battery management will do overall, right? So the main function of this battery management is it will protect the battery from the over voltage, over current, over temperature, and over discharge, right? It is also provide the state of health of the battery and SOC of the battery. Okay. We will discuss in detail about what is the state of charge, state of health, and how this cell balancing we will do, and complete power we will limit, how we can limit this power. Okay. So why we so you can see this figure. So when you're taking any battery for any company, lithium ion battery or lithium manganese, lithium cobalt, any battery. So due to the internal characteristics of the battery, the each cell having some difference in the voltage. Suppose there may be a millivolts, right? You can see the cell 1 having a nominal voltage, operating voltage will be here, but cell 2 having a some more, whereas cell 3 having a little bit less compared to the both. And when cell 4 is already fully charged, right? And cell 5 having little bit less, and cell 6 is completely discharged. That means it's dead. So if you use this kind of cells in your battery pack, what happened? Suppose you are charging. If you are charging the battery, then already this battery is fully overcharged. Then what happens? If you are charging any electric battery is more than is rated required, then there is chances of the thermal runaway, right? And if you are going to be discharging, suppose this battery is going to discharge, right? Let's suppose the same conditions we are going to discharge in the battery. What happened? This battery is completely discharged already. It's almost near to dead. Then still we are discharging. What happened? This completely discharging and this cell is making the imbalance to the other cells also. Is going to be affecting the entire battery. So in order to that, we need to detect this. What is the nominal operating volt? We need to make it equal, right? In order to make it equal, first we know which one having the which value, right? Suppose this value having a 70% is voltage, we don't know. Which having 80%, which having 100%, right? First, we need to detect this. What is how much of the voltage and SOC is present inside the battery, right? So for that purpose, this BMS will do this work. This BMS first will be estimate what is the battery. It will measure the individual each and every cell. What is the SOC and voltage rating. Then it will equalize by using the some external circuit. It will going to be equalize this voltages. Okay. So in this battery management, they have a different kind. Mainly 3 types of topologies are there. The first one is called, we can call it as a distributed topology, right? In this distributed topology, all the cells are connected in some modules, right? So these modules are connected with the one main circuit. This is a master and this is a one master circuit will there, and this all batteries are going to separate with the small individual batteries. Okay, modules. So need voltage monitoring and discharge the balance of each cell with the digital communication. So whether this is a fully charged or not, how can we know? We need some communication. For that purpose, they will use the CAN network, some other networks to indicate the what is the amount of SOC is there, what is the voltage of that battery, right? So if you go for the this distribution topology, it is a very simple construction and design, and it is higher reliable potential in the automotive environment. But what is the disadvantage? It's required the more number of slaves, right? For each battery, each module, we need to place the each BMS, right? So yearly, if you take the 80 slaves, 80 modules are there, then we require the 80 slaves, and this all 80 slaves are going to report into this master, and this master will decide and that which battery should connect and which battery should disconnect, and what is the SOC level, what is the voltage level, it will be indicate, right? So for one master, for all the different kinds of slaves, it's going to be increasing cost and it's difficult to maintain, right? So second one type is the modular topology, where instead of placing the BMS on the individual module, there is some different type of slave modules will be there, right? This each slave will be taking care of the some modules, right? So, and this slaves is going to be reporting to this monitor. If there is any problem will be happen in these batteries, this module cells, then this will be indicated by this slave, and this slave will be going to report it to this monitor, and this master will be indicated that in particular slave and particular cell is going having some defect. Then based on that, the this BMS will be taking the action. It will indicate us like your battery is going to be overcharged or your battery is going to be blast or something, whatever the problem with it, it's indicated by this master, right? So we will get the if you use less amount of this PCB boards on the each individual, so it's going to be reduced. But the problem is, suppose there is any miscommunication happen between this master and slave, then there may be a possibility of entire this module cells are going to be having some problem, right? So to communication between the master and slave is also here, it is a difficult in the this topology. Then you can go for the centralized topology. So here the center master topology, individual directly this master is connected to the all the individual cells. So if you suppose you are taking the 80 cells, then all the 80 cells is connected to the master. So directly this master controller is going to be looking that which cell having a problem, what is the problem, or each and if suppose there is one cell having problem, then immediately it will be isolated. And if it's a problem is more complicated, then immediately it will indicate that this battery is going to be overheated or some particular cell having a problem. Okay, but the main problem with the master central master unit is to communication. So when you use the only single one, we require the more wires to connect each individual cells. This is going to be a little bit difficult if you use the centralized topology. Okay. So overall, we can say that. So in order to increase the battery life, we require the more accurate battery management system. Okay. So as I told that you, the state of charge indicating the remaining capacity. What is the remaining capacity is going to be inside the battery. It's indicated by the its SOC level, right? Suppose if the cells having an initially unbalanced condition, right? If you are going to discharging, what happens? It's completely dry, but still these batteries are discharging, but it is completely dry. It's going to be dead. Suppose we are charging this kind of individual unbalanced batteries. What happens? This the battery which is having a high SOC already is going to be overcharged. Then battery is going to overcharge. There may be a possibility of the thermal runaway. Okay. So in order to balance these voltages inside the battery SOC levels, so there is two types of methods. One is called the active balancing and passive balancing. Right. So in the passive balancing, what it will do the BMS, right? Which will first measure that which one having the how much of voltage level or SOC level. Let's say in this example, this third cell having the minimum voltage compared to the rest of the batteries. So what it will do in the passive balancing, by connecting the one resistive load, external resistance, it discharges the rest of the batteries. and it make into the all are equal, right? In the passive balance system, right? I will explain in detail further slide. And the active balance. The active balancing is nothing but we are injecting the power to the battery which having a less voltage compared to that. So in this passive balancing, the BMS will uh, check which one having a highest value, which one having a lowest, right? Let us assume the B1 having a least voltage and the B1 having a highest. So what the BMS will do by using the internally, it will in the passive balance, active balancing also different methods are there. Internal charging or external charging, right? If you go for some external charging also, some additional battery is there or some energy source in the battery. From that battery to it, the list of the voltage battery is going to be charged. Or else there is a cell to cell active balancing is called. That means this first battery having a highest voltage, right? So this highest voltage is transferred into the lowest voltage cell, right? You can observe in the same. This amount of energy is transferred to the this voltage to transfer to this. And the second one is the this B4. So B4 also having the more voltage compared to the rest of the two. So this voltage is transferred to the bit. Okay. So the problem with the active cell balancing is it's required more costly compared to the passive balancing, but it's more active compared. Whereas the passive balancing is main advantage is low cost but complicated, and main disadvantage is whatever the energy we are generating here, we are wasting. In order to equal these batteries, we are wasting that energy. So this energy may be wasted. Instead of wasting this energy, we can transfer by using the active balancing technique. And when we are there is a possibility also to increase the temperature inside the battery, right? Why? When we are discharging the battery through the resistor, definitely it's producing some amount of heat. That heat is also going to be affecting in the thermal temperature of the battery, right? So in overall, there is a different kinds of topologies are there to in the active and passive cell voltage balancing, right? The first one, passive balancing, there is only two types of method they are using in industry or in the outside present. There is a fixed resistor and a switch resistor. There is active balancing. It's nothing but we are injecting the some power to the batteries, right? There we have a capacitor based, inductor based, and the converter based, right? In the capacitor based also, switch capacitor, double type capacitor, chain structures, parallel structures, series parallel structure, delta structure, mesh structure. So many types of methods are available for the capacitor based active balance. As an inductor or transformer based also, multi-layer or multi or single inductor or chain structure inductor or a single winding transformer or multi-winding transformer, which is going to store in the energy for some time and send into the other battery which having the low voltage, right? In the converter based also, you know that buck converter, boost converter. This is aware, you are already aware, I think, right? This by using these converters also we can transfer the cell voltage from the one cell to another cell, right? I will show you one small example. Let example here it is a fixed resistor balancing method, right? For example, you take the three batteries B1, B2, and B3, right? So by using the one controller, this controller is nothing but your BMS, right? This BMS will be find that which cell having a least and which cell having the highest. Let us assume this B3 having a least and the B1 having the highest SOC level. Then what happens? This BMS controller will be identify that this B1 having a more voltage compared to the B3. Then this switch S1 will be closed, right? Then by forming a closed loop to this resistor, this cell is going to be discharged. Up to what value it will discharge? It will be discharged to the next level. Let us assume this is a 60% and this is a 70%. This is a 60, this is a 50, and this is a 40, right? So this having a 50%. So this battery is going to be discharged into the until it's reached to its 40%. Then after reaching the 40%, it will measure again. It will check this which one having a least. So this one is 30, but these two are in 40%. Then what happened? This S2 and S3 both again going to be turned on, and both the batteries are going to discharging until it reaches to its battery 3. So now when this three batteries is reached to equal value, then the control will say will open this three switches. So this is the operation of the fixed resistor balance. When you go for shunt based and switch resistor balancing method, so instead of individual switch to the direct controller, here the resistor is also connected directly to the controller. So in the switch means, so which one, each one having the more, that particular switch is going to be operated. Instead of single switch, we are using the MOSFET or the IGBT type of switches they are using. So which one, so continuously is blinking. Like suppose this one is a 40 and this one 30 and this one is 20. Then this one will be operate for the switching. This switch will be turned on, and for some time this will be turned on, and this. So until the same operation will be happen, but the just switched registers. So one register should be connected or two registers will be connected at a time. We can make by using the design this controller and the switched capacitor. So active balancing, I told that the switched capacitor. So this switched capacitor will store the energy and transfer it to the other battery, right? The same way, you can consider this battery having a highest voltage of the B1. This B1 having highest and the let B3 having a lowest. When this B1 having highest, what you will do, this controller will detect that and finding that this B1 having a highest SOC level. Then what it will do, it will say to this switch to turn on it. When this switch will turn on, then its energy is transferred to the C1, and this switch is connected to the controller to C2. Right? Then C1 will charge, and this C1 will charge the C2, and it will at a time after this one, right? S1 and S, this both are going to be closed, right? Then this energy from the battery 1 to battery 3 is going to be transferred, right? Then when it reaches to its second least value, let us say this is a 70% now, and this is a 60%, and this is a 50%, right? After discharging 10%, it's going to be 50, and this is also 50, but this is a 40 only. Then what happened? This both the switch S1 and S2 both are going to close, and both are transferring this energy to the B3 until it's going to be equal. Then the three cells are going to be equal. Then this controller will give a signal to the switches to open it, right? Then all the cells are going to be same voltage level or same SOC level. Same thing we can do with the using the converters, right? In this example, let's take a one boost converter, right? What we are connecting the load here, so the batteries are going to be discharging, and the four cells are connected like this, right, to the one boost converter. What it will do? So let's suppose there is a cell 2 is having a least and cell 1 having a highest. What it will do? This battery is going to be, this switch 1 will be turned on, and through this circuit. So suppose 1 volt is going to be, we require difference is there. Then this switch will be turned on, and it will boost up this voltage, right? And that voltage will be transferred to the switch S2 to the performing a closing, right? Like that, we can use the different converters in between this topology. So only thing is changing is how we are going to be controlling the switches. Okay. And the another important factor is the thermal management in the electric vehicle, right? Each battery with, as I starting itself, I told that each battery is working on the different temperatures, right? So if your battery temperature is going to be increasing, the life of the battery is going to be decreases, right? Here I given the one small bar graph, right, where the batteries are going to be, lithium batteries are going to be operated based upon its rating capacity, right? At minus 20 degree, you can assume, you can see here, we cannot go beyond the minus 10 degrees. As per the so many lithium-ion battery data sheet, it will operate minus 10 to maximum 50 degrees centigrade. If you go beyond 50 degrees, the cell is going to be blast. Okay. And if you go less than 10 centigrade, the temperature, the chemical reaction between the anode and cathode is not going to be possible, right? So that's why they is not capable to producing the power. If you go for example, if you go for the minus 10 degrees centigrade, the capacity you can stay able to nearly 55 to 60% between only, right? But the battery life is more, right? As the temperature increases, the battery life is going to be decreases. So in an electric vehicle, so this is a small, I am explaining the entire thermal management in the electric vehicle, right? So where the radiator, when the battery is going to be heated, our entire electric vehicle in order to come to the temperature, right? The coolant is flowing through the radiator and the reservoir, right? We are not going much discussion over this thermal management, right? For your just information purpose, I have given this overview of the thermal management system, right? So what it will do, it's also one of the functionality of the battery management, right? So in order to maintain the entire vehicle temperature and in order to maintain the battery temperature, both will be taken care by this battery management system. Okay. So one more small analysis I have given here. There is a cell safety levels like that. If the temperature is going to be increasing, so what is the problem? It will indicate through the one communication line. We can use some CAN or some other communication technology, right? In order to increase. So suppose there is a over current or over temperature, right? If you are going to using the manufacturing the battery, there's a different kinds of welding connections also there. Wires, welding connections, everything is there. There may be a possibility of the breakdown of electrolyte. There may be a possibility of the breaking of the some wires or any weldings or overcharge, over discharge, right? Based on that, it will indicate based on the temperature, it's going to be indicated to the next level, right? If there is a fire is happen, what happened? What are the action you need to take it, right? And the result. Okay. For example, take a over temperature, right? That battery is having a over temperature. What happened? Is SA layer is going to be breakdown. Then what will immediately indicate in that? It will give the signal to the BMS that BMS separately are shut down. So immediately you will indicate that okay, your battery is going to be overheated. Please shut down your turn off your car or separate the battery to turn off the battery. Right. So result is current will be shut down or current will turn off. Okay. So for this cooling also there is a different types of cooling methods also there. Right. Passive power consumption batteries, so heat transferring medium, and between the cell to cell and overall battery and the liquid cooling, active liquid cooling, thermal cooling, liquid air cooling, liquid cooling. There are different kinds of cooling methods also using in this EVs for to control the temperature. Right? We are not going to discuss in detail because it is a separate topic which is taking more than 2-3 hours also. Okay. So those who are in fresher are looking for the jobs. So in this battery management or EV, there are different kinds of job roles are there in market. Like that ISF, just now I've explained everything. So modeling of this, whatever the model is available in market. So we need to do different kinds of modeling of the converters or inverters or batteries, right? So simulations, so do the simulation. So before going to do any prototype or the version manufacture, so we have different types of softwares are available in market. So in the softwares, they will do simulation, then they will test it, then they will make some prototype. Then based on that, they will go for the safety level testing, then they go for the version manufacture. So there also we have so many job opportunities, right? So for testing, automatic. So these are some companies which are going to offering this electric vehicle domain in automotive domains. Okay.